This is Rare Media. To whom it concerns, welcome to the panel.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome along to this edition of the panel on raremedia.tv. And you can press the red button on the right-hand side to subscribe to our channel on our YouTube channel. Good evening, Caroline. Welcome.
Good evening.
Good evening, Tony Browne.
Good night, Joe. Good night. God bless.
Good evening, Mary.
Hi, I'm just getting my tea.
Yeah.
Is she getting her teeth?
Our teeth, yeah.
Is she getting her teeth?
I forgot my leg. I'll scoot on now.
That actually reminds me one time in Bunratty, a dentist, I was down at his table. He said, do you mind, he was an American, do you mind me asking you a question? And I said, no. And he said, are they all your own teeth? I was kind of looking at him, and then all I could say was, no, I'm breaking them in for someone else. He took about a minute and he said, oh, you're joking. It's just...
Now, there's been a few events have happened since we were on the air last week, as they do every week anyway, you know, and we're about to go into election mode here in this country. Friday, I think the Dáil will be dissolved and will be in election mode, and they'll be knocking at your door. And you mightn't have seen it for 5 years, but there'll be great men and women, and they say absolutely, and I'll do that. Isn't that right, Tony and lads? What you think? But anyway, one of the items we put on the discussion tonight, because I've been looking at quite a few things. I suppose as you get older, you do think about your health a lot more, because obviously your health is everything. If you haven't got your health, you're snookered. I was reading an article this morning, about poor old Bruce Willis. He's non-verbal now. He's no voice, and Bruce Willis, the actor, it's taken a hold in him now.
Where's she from?
He was in the Die Hard films, and he was in that television series. Remember years ago, Moonlighting.
With Sybil Shepherd.
Yeah, Moonlighting, and Pierce Brosnan.
Lovely. I'm a big fan of his.
Well, you should be here. I've watched wall to wall. I love Die Hard. I've watched it every Christmas. Die Hard with a
Yippee-ki-yay. Anyway, he's 69 years of age, so he's relatively young, like to be like that. But I mean, you can see his family are
who's in his will, I wonder?
I don't know, but he has
daughters, he has children, and he has a wife.
He has plenty children and grandchildren, so Tony, we don't at the very bottom anyway, if we make it into the will. But the first item I thought we might discuss is food. Food, particularly all the additives and all the stuff that's put into the food today, particularly in all the shops and supermarkets. You don't know what to buy, or should I say, people don't take time to look at things. So I'm just going to play a clip of this fella talking about toothpaste.
Toothpaste is a deadly, deadly poison. People use it once or twice a day or something, and they're poisoning themselves. There are safe brands of toothpaste. So what do? You go and you buy the safe brand instead of the toxic brand. That's a simple choice. And you've just reduced your toxic load. And it's the same thing with everything else. There's skin creams and, there are all kinds of things. There are safe brands, buy those. Don't buy the others. You reduce your toxic load. Organic foods. Buy organic foods, not regular foods. You reduce your toxic load. If you keep doing this, pretty soon, you've really reduced your toxic load. You see how easy it is to reduce your toxic load.
That, and he goes into, but I mean, first of all, when people go to buy toothpaste, in my case, I live on my own, so I look at the price. As most people do today, you look at the price of toothpaste instead of first of all look at what's safe, what's in it, and then maybe look at the price afterwards. And there isn't much of a difference between them. And because something is expensive doesn't make it safe.
Well, I would always err on the point of whatever the dentist says, and for me, the dentist suggested Sensodyne. Sensodyne toothpaste. Yeah. You can also get Oral-B. Oral-B is also very good. But both of them have fluoride in them.
Well, I wouldn't use any toothpaste with fluoride in it.
But it's a catch-22. I get that fluoride is becoming increasingly prominent from the point of view of people saying, "Oh, it's dangerous and it's carcinogenic and everything like that." But it's also been proven to be one that actually prevents decay in teeth. So it's a hard way. I mean, for years I always used euthymal toothpaste as well, which is supposed to be very good for your gums.
That's still available.
And I use that, and it's a fantastic feeling when you've brushed your teeth because your mouth feels so clean. But it's no good for your teeth. It's really only good for your gums. So you really should only be using euthymal with a toothpaste as well.
As we're talking about,
I never used toothpaste.
Oh God!
Never
Don't
did.
you?
No.
What do you use?
Nothing. Just clean them with a brush. Last thing at night, first thing in the morning. I still have all my teeth.
Do you know what was very good as well? I know it's an old wives' tale, but it actually worked. If you're actually short of toothpaste.
Who's old wife?
No, it's an old wives' tale because I remember my mother used to tell me, her mother used to tell her, and her mother and all that.
Yeah.
If you're short of toothpaste any night, serious to God, it works. And you rub your brush up against, say, the inside of the fire, and you take the soot from the fire.
the carbon, the black carbon.
And you sprinkle salt onto it as well. And you brush your teeth, you put it under the tap and you brush your teeth. Your teeth come out so white after it.
That's because of the carbon
because of the carbon, and the salt then is good for your gums.
It's a cleansing agent. Yeah.
The best thing for your teeth only ruins them.
Another thing a dentist, any good dentist will tell you, one of the lethal things that people use in their mouth is mouthwash. Don't buy them. Don't use them, and if you have mouthwash, throw it into the fire, into the bin, or recycle. It's absolutely lethal. It destroys the natural bacteria, not the positive bacteria that's in your mouth. Mouthwash destroys everything, and you don't have natural bacteria to fight off infection or anything like that.
The best thing that was invented, the best thing for people like me with teeth that are very close together, there's really no gaps in my teeth, and is the interdental brushes. You can get them in different sizes.
Them, yeah.
And mine are pink, so they're the baby size. And you brush in between your teeth, and they're great. I mean, they're easier to use than floss, and they get down really into your gums.
We'll get together, Mary, and buy Tony a packet of those brushes for Christmas.
No, the best thing, every toothpaste contains bicarbonate of soda is in every toothpaste. What you call it, baking powder. It's in all toothpaste. Look at any toothpaste, you'll see bicarbonate of soda. Now that will whiten your teeth. The only thing is, if you use it too often, it'll wear the enamel off. That's the only thing about it. It's too strong. But if you get baking soda and put it on your teeth, you'll see a big difference. I've used it once or twice now, but the only thing is, it ruins the enamel on the teeth. No, that's the only thing. It's an toothpaste.
Yeah, I was saying there, Pat, Mary was right there a minute ago about asking the dentist, but I think the other side of it is that when you look up the ingredients, they put it all in scientific names, so you would therefore looking up the scientific.
I agree with you, Carol, and that's done on purpose by the food additive regime. I mean, they're a huge, huge business, food additives and food, making food in a laboratory setting, and all these additives. A man bought a burger, a quarter pounder burger in McDonald's. In its the little cardboard box you get it in. He bought it home. He put it on his sideboard. He didn't put it into the fridge. He didn't put it into anything. He put it on his sideboard and left it there for a full month. You can look it up in the No, he was doing an experiment about fast foods. He left it there for full month. He opened the box. Now you would expect it to be full of mold and
No, because it was full of preservatives.
It was almost the exact same from the day he bought it. The bun,
He
the
didn't waste
thing,
it, so
and
did
all
he?
this. Huh?
He didn't waste it, so he's able to heat it up, per se.
Well,
Oh, but
I don't think he is, but he's good. So, can you imagine what kind of food, what it's doing in your system? I
yeah.
mean, your liver is the most important organ after your heart. So, if your liver is under pressure, it has a knock-on effect on your health as well, you know. And all this has to be processed. And the same with fizzy drinks. Where's the piece we had on fizzy drinks?
Avoid these 3 drinks as they cause heart attacks and bad breath. First would be alcohol. There is no such thing as drinking with moderation because it is poison and will always damage the organs. Next would be Starbucks Frappuccino. This drink has so much sugar, your insulin levels would be through the roof, causing type 2 diabetes. And lastly would be Diet Pepsi. This drink has so much chronicles you couldn't count, and these ingredients are all fake and made in a lab. They have dangerous side effects such as causing dementia, cancer, and other diseases. A good way to heal yourself from these dangerous drinks would be taking pure Shilajit. It is a natural supplement that will revitalize the human body. You can get this from the link in my profile.
That Barbara here, we put up the links maybe sometime, Barbara. She has just no nonsense, practical down to earth advice, and she'll tell you exactly what's in them. No frills attached or anything. And you have the choice yourself to make up your own mind. But I haven't drank fizzy drinks. When I be out social, I'd have not, since I don't drink alcohol anymore, you're limited to your choices in the pub. It's a fizzy drink or alcohol, that's it, like, you know.
Well, I never drank alcohol. I never even tasted it. I took the pledge when I was 14.
What about all the gin under the bed?
But I took the pledge when I was 14, and I was so convinced that I'd go to hell if I broke the pledge. I never broke it. And now that I'm the age I am, I couldn't be bothered.
What age is that now?
29.
29.
Well,
just never felt the urge to drink, even at the worst, in the worst of times. I think if you can get through your teenage years, your teenage years and your young 20s and 30s and that, and you don't drink, I don't think people bother. I have several friends who are the same as me, pioneers.
Yeah.
They've never been interested in alcohol. They've never had a longing.
Yeah.
I think youngsters should be encouraged to join. Maybe belong to the Pioneer Association. I think you're a pioneer, Tony. But I think youngsters should be encouraged to go down that route and to see by the time they're maybe 30, if they're not interested by then, they're never going to be. But I think if you start something very young, it's very hard to break that cycle.
Our new president of America never drank or smoked in his life.
But you never drank. You drank until you're the 70s, Pat.
I did, I did.
You stopped.
It's well documented. If you ask my brothers or some of them, did I drink? They'll tell you first into the pub and last out. That was me, first in and last out. But I mean, really, I suppose you go through different phases in your own life. You might have personal tragedy in one's life. You might have personal tragedy in your own life. And the only solace you could see at the time would be the drink in the pub, because you're with people you know, and there's a comfort in that alone, and you have camaraderie with them, and so you have your few scoops, and after a while you're sneaking out of work because you can, and going to the pub during the day, and it creeps up on you. It can creep up on you very quickly. That the drinking takes over your whole life, you know.
But Pat, there's nothing wrong with the pub. I mean,
I'm not anti-pub.
You're not. I'm just saying that, you see them trying to put restrictions on people out in the country, the government, and misfortunes having their little car maybe to get them from their farm, their isolated farm, to the pub.
Yeah, I agree.
They may only sip one drink for the entire night, and they're penalised because of the dangers of what might happen in the city if somebody goes to the pub in a car and goes home. And everyone has to have some outlet. My thing is, though, that I do think that the Pioneer Association should be doing a lot more to try and encourage young.
How strong is it? How strong is the Pioneer, Tony? Do you know anything about the Pioneer Association?
There's different groups and places. Clarina now have a good one.
Have
The major amount of people out there now that don't drink, that
Yeah.
I know in Clarina. You kind of fell asunder in the cities, you see. People
did.
don't- You try to go down and talk about pioneers to some of them now, and they only laugh at you. They don't know what it is.
But I
anyway.
I think as well as that, if you come from a family where there isn't really a history of, well, when I say there is a history,
No.
my father didn't drink till he came to Ireland, and he never took a drink at all, and all he could take maybe was one drink, and he'd be drinking it the whole night. All his side of the family didn't drink. My grandmother on my mother's side of the family was a pioneer she had the gold faunia.
But isn't there a golden opportunity now for I will give it its proper name, the Pioneer Total Abstinence Association?
Yeah, there is a golden opportunity.
Isn't there a golden opportunity for that organisation to go into the schools?
Absolutely.
Go into the schools and have them in every week in the schools.
But the teachers are drinking anyway. Because they're all down there tonight, all the students.
But that's their choice, Tony.
Teachers not interested.
But that's their choice to drink if they want to. But I'm just saying that people, if someone like me went into a school and gave people the option and said, look, this exists, you automatically take it with your confirmation. Everyone does.
No, not anymore. Not anymore.
They did when I
was for years.
And then I went back when I was 14, and he said, you're too young. You're a year too young. You have to be. I was 13. You had to be 14. So he said, I'll put you on a probationers, he said, for a year, Father Power.
Who said that? But he shouldn't have done that. He shouldn't have done that. He was stupid to do that.
He did.
He should have told you, made your confirmation, you took the pledge. That end the story.
Yeah, well, I went down when I was 13, and he gave me the pin, but he gave me a probationers for a year until I was 14, and then I went back when I was 14, and I took it for life. And do you know, I didn't know what I was doing at 14 to take a abstinence.
Well, there's nothing wrong with it. I mean, as I said, we would encourage the Pioneer Total Abstinence Association to go into schools on a regular basis and make it part of the curriculum, not alone to give people information about the joys of not drinking, but about the harmful effects it has on you. On your family and your friends, and so,
Pat, it's not easy. It's not easy being.
No, it's not.
It's not easy being a girl or a boy in their teens, early teens, and they see all their friends drinking and smoking, and they're looking like the odd one, the bore, but yet. In my case, I was always the last out, the one that drove everyone home, and the one that would probably trip coming up the stairs, whereas those of my friends that were much more, but it was hard. It was very, very hard. Not now, but it was very hard then, with friends saying, go on, have a drink. Go on, put some of the... And, it makes you very tough. And that toughness carries into everything that you do. You tend to have a very singular mind and be able to follow your own path and not be led by other people. So I think it's very good.
I was going to say that's brilliant, Mary. What I was going to say, lads, is I find that us as human beings, we're all born with addictive personalities. It's at the end of the day what we pour addictions into, whether it's drink, drugs, music, whatever way we want to.
Absolutely, Caroline. You're 100.
Mary, you must have tremendous strength getting through that time. That's brilliant.
Well, look, I had a very disciplinarian mother, and I knew there was a fear factor as well, that if you drank and she found out, she'd have killed me. But I know she'd have killed me. So there was that fear. But by the time I got into my 20s, I didn't even think about it.
Yeah, as you get older, it's important, I suppose. Well, you were an only child, so in my case,
I was an only child.
You have friends, but you have good friends around you, solid friends, and it's a lot of it is down to that. You know, it's not so much the family unit as well, of course, but your friends that you go to school with, that you hang out with. You know, it's important for that group. Are they good, steady people? You know, and you don't know. We all grow up differently with different personalities.
The strangest thing I can remember was in my 30s. I'd say I was about 28, 29, and it was Christmas Day. And I remember my mum saying to me, "Do you want a drink of wine?" I was 28, and she said, "Go on." And I can remember my dad, who never said anything or boo, saying to her, "Myra, don't encourage her. Don't encourage her." And that has always stayed with me, that even though he never, ever told me not to drink or anything, the one time she was offering me a glass of wine at the table, she was saying, "Go on, if you want."
Coming out now?
No, the one time she did offer me and say, "Look, maybe you'd like I mean, you're 28 after all." And I said, no, because, and I remember thinking to myself, it's because my dad didn't want me to drink. And I knew for the first time ever, he had expressed that he had been happy I hadn't.
Now, the program here,
you should drink. You should have taken it.
Yeah.
No, I didn't want it. I didn't. And you know, the house is full of drink right now.
It's under your bed, all the gin.
The drink is there since 1993. Vodka.
You might change your whole attitude to life if you got scuttered. You might love it.
I would never. I can't stand the smell of it.
Are you get used to that?
You'll get used to that too. There's ways of forgetting it. The panel is the name of the program here, and they'll be here every Wednesday night.
I think I feel like the way getting drunk now. Go on anyway.
Press the red button on the right hand side to subscribe to our channel. You're more than welcome. And this program will be up on our YouTube channel later on tonight, and you can look at it and share it with your friends and tell them all about it. We're going to take a bit of comedy. That's Victor Border. You remember him?
He's very funny.
He's very funny, man.
He's a great piano player, you know.
Yeah, brilliant musician. Brilliant musician. But that was I think people might have...
He's Victor Borgia. He's very funny. You know, some of the things he's done over the years. So.
He's marvelous.
You managed to copy him, that English fella, and he never admitted he was copying Borgia.
Les
faces,
Les Dawson.
Les Dawson.
Yeah.
Les copying him. Was incredible. He was
copying him.
An incredible writer, and he always wanted to be a writer.
Victor Borgia did back in the 50s, and he was very funny, Victor Borgia.
Yeah, I used to watch him on the old in black and white television, so that but he was popular.
He always played the piano in wrong keys, you know. He was very good at it. He was a
brilliant musician.
You have to be very good to be able to play off key, Tony, like that.
Oh, he could do it, Victor Borgia. And Ray Dawson was copying him, you know.
What we say to people about the food, just to finish with the food, was read the label. Just look at the labels, and if there are ingredients on the label, first of all, that you cannot read and you don't know what they are, forget that. Forget that. You know.
And people are being poisoned. You know.
And if you have an open fire, you can put your toothbrush on the hob, rub off the black, and put a bit of salt on it for brushing your teeth to save a lot of money.
Soot and salt.
Yeah, salt and salt. That's our health tip for tonight.
I'm telling you,
If you're short of toothpaste,
look
if you're
at
short
the
of
ingredients.
toothpaste for a night, salt and salt.
Last night, the United States of America had their election. Not only had they election for a president, they had election for the Senate as well, and the House of Representatives, and the governors of 50 states. The result of the election was almost a clean sweep by the Republicans. They got 27 governors. The Democrats got 23 governors in the state. So they've won the House of they've won the Senate. They've got a majority in the Senate. Excuse me, and they are heading for a majority in the House of Representatives as well. Donald Trump, I mean, I believed the polls. I thought it was tight. I thought it would be tighter. But after the first set of results that came in this morning, about 1:45 this morning, I went to bed thinking that this is done and dusted, even though all the big ones weren't in yet. The way the trend was going, the way the vote was going, you know. It's an absolutely, and it's one of the most incredible comebacks in my lifetime, certainly in American elections. It caught a lot of people by surprise. It doesn't matter whether you agree with Donald Trump's policies or the Democrats. To me, it's for a political comeback like that, it's just sensational, you know. And it's to the strength of the man as well, in fairness, I have to give him strength. There was 2 attempts in his life during the election. There was the constant vilification over the last 8 or 9 years of trying to convict him of something, anything. And it was all political. And I think all of it together came back to give him this. Did you see it last night, Caroline? Did you watch it last night?
Yeah, I did. I watched it. But I found with Kamala Harris, whatever about your feelings about Trump, the way she used to attack Trump, she made it really about him rather than, she never mentioned about her own foreign policies or any policy. She just wanted to attack Trump, which is wrong, you know.
Never, Caroline. I mean, that's people didn't know what her policies were. Well,
If she had any.
no, but it was a remarkable comeback, and it's a remarkable mandate to have. And this morning, on a positive note, I mean, I'm all about world peace, and I you know, it's all about peace with me globally. Putin has come out and said that he's now willing to talk with Zelensky. And no, but he has been saying it for a long time too. He's been saying it. He never wanted NATO to go on the borders, and no one would want. I mean, if NATO decided to rock up on the borders of Newry, we'd be all out. There'd be all out war in this country.
There's no. Did any one of us here on this program and people watching can let us know? In the Ukraine-Russian war, did anybody see any dead soldiers shown on our screens? No. There's anywhere between 600,000 and 1 million dead between both sides. 1 million young lads dead and women in that war. And because we don't see the bodies on our sanitized television coverage, we think it might upset us, or I don't know what to think. It's very, very poor coverage. We don't see it, but there are channels that you would see it on if you are patient enough. News channels that you will see the death toll. It's horrific, absolutely horrific.
And it's young men and women that are being sent out.
Yeah.
And somebody else's young men and somebody else's young women that are being sent out.
I think with any war, it's what way to spin the propaganda wheel as well.
Yeah, that's true as well. That is very true. I think that I'd be more optimistic now that Trump is elected, that there will be some positive movement in that war and in the Middle East situation as well. I think that Trump had a very good relationship with Netanyahu when he was in power the last time, and he did a lot of good in the Middle East with the Abraham Accords that he set up in the Middle East with Muslim countries that had no connection with Israel up to then. They have now diplomatic relations with Israel, positive diplomatic relations. They have embassies and they have regular trade and interaction.
Regular flights going between countries. They need to be afraid of somebody. they need to know that if they step out of line, that there's somebody there. Everyone needs to know that there's a boundary beyond which they can't cross.
We need Trump to come over and fight for us, and Trump will push him out.
Well, down here in County Clare, where I live, we recognise him as the West Clare businessman now. He's the President of the United States for the next 4 years.
Hey, Pat, I was just wondering, I wanted to ask you a question. They were covering something this morning on some media outlet about, do you think Trump will put on extra tariffs for imports from countries like Ireland, and what way would it affect things?
I think that's a load of hot air. I think that he will definitely put on tariffs to...
He says he will. He says he'll bring the companies back to America. Make America great.
Well, he put on tariffs.
It'll be great next week.
Well, he put on tariffs on trade goods from China, which is the biggest threat to most economies in the country, you know. We'd rather go around fighting nonsensical ideas. We'd rather have our Taoiseach going around looking to pass a deoccupied territories bill. Well, a lot of good that will do him or anybody else for that matter. He'd rather go around and flag waving and slogan making. That's Harris and I belong to him, about recognising a non-entity like Palestine as a state. How could Palestine be a state? They have nothing there. You know, he go on and he's a great boy over in Europe. I mean,
a lot of Irish went out. I remember
that Harris goes on with.
A lot of Irish went out and joined the Palestinian, joined the police force. There's a lot written on that about the Palestinian police force when all the Irish went out and joined up in that.
When was that? The 60s?
After the Civil War, they all got out of the country and joined the Palestinian police force. They went out under England, you say, at the time, when England was running Palestine.
Was that before the Balfour Declaration in 1948?
Balfour Declaration.
No, before that, yeah, back in the 20s when
2030s. Oh, yeah, that's interesting.
Limerick, I know people from Limerick, the families that went out and joined the Palestinian police force.
Yeah.
Went out to Palestine. And they were under England, you see. They were English citizens. England was running Palestine.
They were English protectorates.
Pat, Simon Harris is talking consistently about the Occupied Territories Bill, and they're all talking about the Occupied Territories Bill, but not one of them has mentioned if they're going to boycott goods from the north of Ireland.
That's true.
To my knowledge, the north of Ireland is still occupied by the British forces.
Yeah.
And the Crown of England. And, I'm English myself. I was born.
Everybody knows that the Occupied Territories Bill is an anti-Semitic bill, an anti-Jewish bill. Everybody in the Fara knows that.
Exactly. They can't justify when they're asked why they haven't included all the other countries in the world that are occupied, why they haven't included Ireland in it. They're shocked. Shock horror.
China controls Nepal and Tibet. Why aren't they in it? They control Taiwan as well. Why aren't they in the Occupied Territories Bill? It's an anti-Semitic bill by some anti-Semites like Francis Clark.
There's an old atlas I have here now. There's a country of Palestine, and it tells you all about it.
It's a made-up title. It's a made-up title to give a homeland to some displaced Arabs, for the want of a better description, without going into huge detail. That's all it is. But anyway, people are entitled to live where they'd like to live.
Absolutely.
And,
there's right and wrong in everyone.
My heart goes out to the Palestinian people. You know, the men, the women, and the children, the innocent men, women, and children who are being killed. You'd want to have a heart of stone, but you know, Israel has a right to exist.
It has, and it has a right to defend itself.
Yeah. Hey, Pat,
every country has a right to defend itself. I would just like to see it all brought to an end now, and peace restored.
What do you think, Caroline?
I was just about to say what I found a really big eye opener last night in the elections in America was Trump got a massive Palestinian following for his backing, which is
Jewish.
Jewish. It's very surprising with the Palestine one.
But I'm not at all surprised because people know that. Well, they don't know whether he's mad enough to do the things that he says he's going to do, and sometimes that actually works because you're saying to yourself, "Well, would he do it or wouldn't he? I'm not going to take a chance. Kim Jong-un isn't going to take a chance with Trump, because he doesn't know if he's really as volatile as he pretends. It's a strongman tactic. And he did it once before with the Abraham Accord, and the Palestinian people were at peace. And the same with between Israel and Palestine. They were living side by side, and the Palestinian people were getting on with their lives, and everything was getting through. And now suddenly it's just.
Well, I think myself that the war going on there now is beginning to run out of a bit of steam, for the want of a better description. And I think that the time is right for a settlement of some sort. For God's sake, I mean, and live and let live, for God's sake. And don't just, I mean, really. Now, this is
sorry, Pat, there's thousands, hundreds of thousands of Palestinians working in Israel every day. They're working in the Knesset. They're working as lawyers, they're doctors, they're nurses, they're teachers. They all vote. There's many of them in the Israeli Air Force. There's many of them in the.
There's over 300,000 of them from the Gaza Strip going into work to Israel every day. Well, there were before the slaughter on the 7th of October was perpetrated by the Hamas terrorists. But there were 300,000 people.
How you can call that an apartheid state is beyond me. I mean, I've interviewed a woman whose father was killed by de Kock in South Africa. And Candace Mama is her name, and her father was a member of the ANC, and he was ambushed personally by de Kock, who shot him and set him on fire. And he died. And the photographs she saw when she was 6 years old, and her doctors told her mother that she would die if she didn't learn to forgive de Kock for what had happened, because she had such bad ulcers for a 9-year-old. She went and visited him in his prison, and she forgave him, and she wrapped her arms around him, and her mother did. And it gave them some sort of a peace. And they campaigned for de Kock to be released from prison after he murdering her father and her mother's husband. And that was apartheid, when you couldn't sit in the same seat as somebody because you were black, or you couldn't go into a cinema because you were black. But Israel have people working in their ambulance service who are Palestinian, or as they call themselves, Israeli or Palestinian Israelis. They're living and working.
Well, it's a multicultural society in Israel today. It's a multicultural society through all facets of life in Israel, both in the civil service, in the police, in the army, in the
judiciary,
medical corps, and in the Knesset, in the parliament. So, I mean, how people like Paul Murphy and Richard White can label them without any retribution against them in our own doll as apartheid state is horrific. It's horrific. It's gone on too long. But anyway, we're heading into an election, lad. So there's a cautionary tale. There's a cautionary tale of be alert during this election.
Oh, yeah.
And in other news, Gardaí have warned of scam artists going door to door, making false promises that they can't keep. Earlier today, local woman Carmel Hughes recalled a loud knocking at her front door, where she was greeted by one such con artist.
I tried to close the door, but he said, "I know you. I was here 5 years ago." It was his smile. Empty. Like all the lights were turned off, do you know? I was petrified.
Gardaí have since released e-fits of the ringleaders believed to be behind the gang, and have urged the public not to believe any of their bullshit.
That's the crowd. That's the crowd. Waterford whispers, you know.
Hey, Pat, I called him the Rat Pack.
Yeah. Now, Tony, did you get any callers at your door?
I did few more, but I didn't meet any of them really.
Yeah.
Missed most of them, which I'm disappointed. Maria Byrne was here, I missed her. And who's going to get in anyway, is the thing.
I hope it's Maria.
We do it. It's a wide open election.
Maria. Why would you hope it's Maria?
Because I think Maria is an incredibly genuine person, and you know, she. I've known Maria for many, many years.
Do you remember Fine Gael?
I don't care. She's a very genuine person. I remember Maria. I worked with Maria in
How
the
can
Adava.
people, mind that? How can people be genuine if they're with a political party?
Are you going to
How
let
can they
me
be genuine?
finish?
They can't be, because they're told what to do. You're joking me. You're joking me. If you're a member of a party, you toe the party line. You do what you're told, no matter
That's
what.
true.
You can't do anything.
When you have a choice between two people, you choose somebody. One, because if you know and you know them, you know that they're a very honourable person. And I know that Maria is not the type of person that would do anything to anybody.
She can't do anything on her own. She'll have to do the party line. If they say you're walking up the wall,
I'm
she's
aware of that, but you're asking me about who between her and
who else is going? Who else is running
Well,
anyway?
the candidates declared where Tony is from now, just for people who are watching the programme, Tony lives in Limerick City and Caroline does as well. So it's a 4-seat constituency, and the outgoing TDs are Willie O'D of Fianna Fáil, Maurice Quinlivan of Sinn Féin, and your man with Fine Gael, what's his name?
Cian O'Donnell.
Cian O'Donnell of Fine Gael, and Ledden of the Green Party. At the moment, we have two Fianna Fáil people running, Willie O'D and Dee Ryan.
Who's Dee Ryan? Who is she?
She ran in the mayor. She was involved in the Limerick Chamber of Commerce for years and
ran for the mayor.
And she ran in the mayoral election, and she was she got a sizable vote, I must say. Yeah. So she'll be running with Fianna Fáil. You have Marie Byrne and Cian O'Donnell for Fine Gael. You have Maurice Quinlivan for Sinn Féin, and you have Social Democrats are running someone in there as well.
Oh, yeah.
What's her name? Your neighbour, Tony.
Well, she's not my neighbour, but I know who you mean.
Yeah,
anyway.
She's up the road from you, as they say.
Yeah, anyway.
So
Donovan, isn't it?
Elisa O'Donovan for the Social Democrats.
No, Donovan, I wouldn't vote. Yeah.
And Conor Sheehan for the Labour Party is running as well in Limerick City.
Yeah. Labour always had a vote from time Jim Kemmy's term, and then what's her name jumped into that seat. What's her name? Sullivan.
Jan O'Sullivan.
Yeah, Jan Sullivan. She jumped in. She got Kemmy's seat then. You know.
Yeah. Yeah.
So Labour always had a vote in Limerick, but Labour Party has gone down now.
Maria been given a chance because I mean she was a good senator. She spoke up for Limerick on many occasions in the Senate. Maria Byrne, and I think I'd like to see her being given a chance. I mean, one of those who's going for it has been in the Dáil for a long time and has never taken up any ministerial really in a long time position, and they could have, but they much preferred to kind of themselves as a local politician rather than a TD.
I wouldn't believe that, Mary. Isn't that they wanted? They didn't get the chance. They weren't picked.
No, they weren't. Willie O'D was the Minister for Defence for a short time. Yeah,
From the Curragh, he got up the rifle. Do you remember?
That was funny.
But, I mean, it's all politics because I mean, there's been a lot of. I mean, for instance, in Cork South Central, you have Simon Coveney, Micheál Martin, and Dara. Who's the other fella? No, your man has gone to Europe.
He's gone to Europe, yeah.
McGrath.
Hey, I meant to say to you, Pat, do you reckon after the whole thing with Roger O'Gorman, do you reckon with them going around canvassing, to get more protection, like with security and stuff?
Well, Roger O'Gorman was, they said he was attacked, but he wasn't really attacked from what I can see now. I'm not saying he was, what's the word? He was hassled on the canvas, and the Gardaí have charged your man in the court with malicious damage of a clipboard. And I heard the latest now today that they have put it out to tender. Roger O'Gorman has put it out to tender to replace the clipboard, and bam, the company that are building the Children's Hospital have got the tender to replace the clipboard, and they said it'll be something around 200 grand to replace this clipboard. And that doesn't include paper with it.
Oh, you're joking. That's a joke. That's a joke. Oh,
Wouldn't surprise me.
nothing would surprise me in this country when you have a hospital that's now over a billion euro. That it started off. What was it at the time? 4-5 million to build the hospital. No, what am I saying? 100 million or something to build the hospital.
450 million. It's now 2.3 billion.
Billion. Jeez.
Mary, I'm not surprised if they spent a few $100,000 on a bike shed. You know,
No.
That's it. I mean, anything, you know.
They have announced the COVID inquiry in the Dáil. They haven't put any framework on it yet or what kind of a one it will be. But if there's going to be any inquiry into the COVID situation in Ireland, it has to be open and public, in my opinion, you know. And they'll probably go around with chairs. They'll probably appoint some High Court judge who doesn't need the money to chair the thing, I'd say, you know.
Terrible it is. And the money for the barristers and for the senior counsels, they rub their hands together when they hear of an inquiry.
A lot of High Court judges sitting in the bench today would need a lot of retraining, in my opinion, with some of the sentences they're handing down. It's something we might discuss here tonight.
Who appoints the judges? Look at all the judges at the members. Most of them are members of political parties.
They are. They all are. They all are.
Crazy, you know, and
totally corrupt.
What there's nothing you can do about it. I knew a senior counsel. He died only 2 years ago now, Joe Revington. And Joe would never be appointed a judge. Joe should have been a judge a long time ago. But he was a Labour man, you see. He was Dick Spring's advisor.
All right. Oh, yeah. No, you mention his name. I know who you're talking about now.
I joined the radio show. Joe was great for local history.
Yeah.
His great-grandfather had a lot of property in Limerick out in Revington Park, the Revingtons. And they lived in Ardoo House. But like that, Joe would never be a judge. He should have been a judge. But he was alongside. You know, they're usually Fianna Fáil and Fine Gael appointees. The only other one I know was Judge. Do you remember Hamilton? Hamilton. He was a Labour judge as well. He was over the Beef Tribunal.
There was the what was his name? The Attorney General, John Rogers of Labour.
So they're all Fine Gael and Fianna Fáil. Look at the judge. The other fella did his own. What was his name? The fella down in was the PD judge. Fella down in Chile. Do you know what they disowned him after when he was brought up on the child pornography thing?
Yeah, I know. He wouldn't resign. Do you remember that? He wouldn't resign. So then there was questions in the Dáil, and
Harry Whelan was the Attorney General.
Yes.
You go back in them all. The fathers were all members. So you go back in.
What was the Attorney General that your man was in his flat? The fellow that murdered the nurse.
With the Attorney General at the time. Yeah. He was sharing the loan of his flat.
He did, yeah.
The whole system is crazy. You know, what's being done about it? That's the thing. The judges are very powerful. They can do what they like. You know, and it's hard to believe the judges out there and the pensions they have when they retire. It's unreal. You know.
And the Kenny is getting a pension of €364 a day.
Oh, I tell you, look, there were two lecturers I had.
As a man said, put that in your pipe and smoke it.
two of the lecturers I had in UL became judges after, and both of them are retired now. They were made judges. I wouldn't have made them judges, I tell you, from sitting and listening to. You know, but what did they do? They were made judges. One of them I know was both of them. One of them ran for Fianna Fáil, and the other fellow was involved as well.
And they can work till they're 75.
No, they're not even. They're not 75. No, they're not.
They can stay until they're 75.
The one fellow was shifted down to Cork as a judge. I tell you, they're all involved in politics. They're political appointments. People don't realise it. You know, how do you become a judge? You know.
It's the same everywhere. It's the same everywhere. Every country, you look at the American elections as well, and all the judges, all of the judges are mostly all. It seems Democratic.
People do the same. He'll go in on next week and he'll change the whole lot again. It's crazy.
But the whole thing is, you know, everything should be. No one should be a judge unless if they're affiliated with a party.
One thing I asked the judges, and I remember asking this to many a time, name me a judge in Ireland that's from a working class area. Tell me
No
one.
one. No one.
You know. Now, what can you do?
And
You can't fight that. You know.
if you want to educate yourself about what goes on in the district courts, both in Limerick and Ennis, you go into the district court there in the new courthouse in Mulgrave Street in Limerick City on a Monday morning, and you could spend there till Mary knows what I'm talking about. You could be there till 2 or 3 o'clock. And I'll tell you, if you need a good laugh, it's just unbelievable the amount of guards and solicitors.
And they're all looking at phones in the corner. They're all sitting there looking at their phones while all this is going on.
If you went up to Ennis Courthouse, Ennis Courthouse,
you know,
on a Friday morning.
I have to qualify that now, Pat, because you said Mary knows what I'm talking about, as if I'm a convict. Pat parked my car when I was in hospital on what he thought was no longer a car park or a taxi rank at the side of the AIB in O'Connell Street. He parked the car to go and get money out of the machine using my card I had given him. I was in hospital. I only came out of hospital, and the following day, a guard arrived at my door to hand me a summons because, and I said, he knew I was shocked, and I thought, what is he talking about? And he was so lovely to me. He was really lovely. And he said, just write in a letter and explain what happened and that you weren't driving the car. So I wrote in a letter, explained that I didn't mention Pat's name. I just explained that a friend of mine had taken my card, went to the machine to get money out. As far as we knew, it was no longer a taxi rank. The taxi was moved to the other side. And blah, blah, blah. Anyway, I went to the court because I knew it was still in my name and the guard hadn't replied to me. And the guard never turned up in court. So I just stood up and she said, it's all right. She said, case dismissed. The guard hasn't turned up and you did. So she said, goodbye, have a nice day. And that was it.
Why didn't she get the guard? Why didn't she get the guard?
Yeah, you're right. It's up to the judge. It's up to the judge to do these things because all the administration that went into that, all the paperwork, all it's
nice. I mean,
I wasn't even driving the car. I was only after coming out of Croom the day before, and the guard at the door was so nice.
I'd have given you a month in jail.
Wouldn't it be nice? He wouldn't be nice if he wanted to take you away. He wouldn't be nice. Let me tell you.
No, he would not. He would not.
No, he was.
They've taken away a lot of people to arrest them for having no television license.
Oh, you can chalk it down. He wouldn't be nice then. You'd have seen a different side to him. Look away out
anyway, as I tribute to the election, we're going to close the program now, lads, in a minute. It's been the time I know where it's gone. That's when you have a good time. You don't miss the time going. So from Tony and Caroline and Mary and myself,
I know what he's going to play.
To meet next Wednesday. Thanks everybody for being with us, and don't forget to tune into the program on our YouTube channel to be up there and tell all your friends about it. So we're going to finish off now.
But stay on the line, Caroline. Don't go off, and Tony, because
to the American election.
And I'm proud to be an American. Welcome to the shit show. Every single day. A new flavor of fuckery, 'cause everybody's such, you see, and they're dumber than a bag of clots. Monday, bullshit. Tuesday, bullshit. Wednesday, and then 4 more days of increasingly stupid, ridiculous, ignorant, balderdash, poppycock, bollocks, and fuckery. Yeah, and all over again.
This is Lair Media. To whom it concerns, welcome to the panel.